A Supreme Court ruling just broke people's minds, leading many to ask if it's okay for Biden to drone strike Trump. Political discourse has now come down to us asking if politicians can order hit jobs on each other. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. For all our American audiences out there, happy 4th of July! For all of our non-American audiences out there, try not to choke on all our freedom! USA! USA! For the Americans, I hope you enjoy your time with your friends and family, and remember the real meaning behind America's Declaration of Independence, fighting over which guy you want in office. And while you're at it, I hope you can channel the spirit of Thanksgiving by arguing with your family about politics when it comes to the Supreme Court and Trump. Because earlier this week, the Supreme Court ruled in the court case Trump v. the United States that Trump, and any president, is immune from prosecution for some acts. This is obviously hugely important because it means that Richard Nixon would have had presumptive immunity for everything he did while in office. Nixon wasn't a crook after all. He could have done even more shady things and covered them up too if he wanted, but he didn't. What restraint. We all owe this man an apology. Just say, "I'm sorry," out loud. His ghost is probably taping us. Legally. So, this Supreme Court ruling has apparently broken some people. It seems that people believe U.S. President Joe Biden now has a license to use the military to take out Trump and drone strike Trump's Mar-a-Lago. Of course they believe it, because why research anything when I heard someone say it on the internet is the most reliable citation there is. So how exactly did people come to such entertaining conclusions? This whole ordeal started after Special Counsel Jack Smith's indictment last August against Trump over attempts to alter the 2020 presidential election. The indictment charges Trump with 4 crimes, including conspiring to defraud the U.S., obstructing an official proceeding, and conspiring against the rights of voters for his actions that culminated in the January 6, 2021 attack. Trump, however, claimed presidential immunity from prosecution against those crimes. U.S. presidential immunity protects sitting presidents from prosecution for federal law and former presidents from civil lawsuits over their actions while in office. Without it, the president would not be able to carry out their duties without fear of legal reprisals. Because being president is kind of like being a cashier at Arby's. It's technically a job where you serve others, but behind the scenes, it's messy, disgusting, and everyone involved should be ashamed of themselves. The D.C. Circuit held that Trump didn't have presidential immunity from Smith's 4 felony charges, but the Supreme Court overruled them with a catch. The Supreme Court's metric for presidential immunity came to this: was the president's conduct official? Not everything the president does is official. That's why Bill Clinton said, "I did not have sex with that woman," instead of "what happens in the Oval Office stays in the Oval Office, official business, baby." If the act wasn't official, then the president isn't immune. If it was official, then was it part of the president's core constitutional power? Things like appointing officials, dealing with foreign powers, and leasing the armed forces. If yes, there's complete immunity. A president can't be prosecuted. If no, then the president has presumptive immunity, meaning that the president is assumed to be immune unless a prosecutor can rebut it. That's the standard the Supreme Court used for determining whether presidential immunity applies. If your brain hurts, I can understand why. So what exactly is the difference between an official and unofficial act? Well, that's a question that the Supreme Court managed to dodge. It's kicking the case back to U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan to figure it out using the standard I just mentioned. What? You think the Supreme Court justices have answers to everything? Just because someone's super old and wears robes all the time doesn't automatically make them a philosopher, you bigot. Is bigotry towards philosophers a thing? The Supreme Court didn't leave Judge Chutkan empty-handed, though. In response to Special Counsel Smith's 4 felony charges against Trump, the majority opinion concluded that Trump is absolutely immune from prosecution for the alleged conduct involving his discussions with Justice Department officials. Trump was also presumed immune from prosecution for allegedly pressuring then Vice President Mike Pence to alter the election results, but the case was remanded to lower courts for review. The Supreme Court didn't say whether Trump was immune from prosecution for alleged pressure on state officials to change electoral votes or alleged incitement of the January 6th riots. It remanded those two as well for the lower court to review. The ruling is largely seen as a win for Trump since it sets back Special Counsel Smith's indictment against him, especially as prosecutors can't use evidence of official acts as part of a prosecution. And by the time the district court determines what counts as official and unofficial acts, the 2024 U.S. presidential election will likely be over by then. Reminder, it's only 4 months away, even though it feels like it's already been going on for an eternity, and feels like it aged us more than the two candidates. So, did the Supreme Court just open Pandora's box? Are we going to legalize political rival assassinations? The 3 liberal judges who dissented think so. They warned that this Supreme Court ruling reshapes the presidency by allowing the president to be a king above the law. According to Justice Sonia Sotomayor, when the President of the United States uses his official powers in any way under the majority's reasoning, he now will be insulated from criminal prosecution. Orders the Navy's SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival? Immune. Organize a military coup to hold on to power? Immune. Takes a bribe in exchange for a pardon? Immune, 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 immune. Man, I haven't heard people this worried about immunity since COVID. Oddly enough, the idea of Trump using SEAL Team 6 to assassinate political rivals isn't new. It was first brought up in January earlier this year, when D.C. Circuit Judge Florence Pan asked if a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival would be subject to criminal prosecution. While some think that's ridiculous, my reaction is stop giving them ideas. Trump's attorney said if he were impeached and convicted first. That comment came back to haunt Trump, especially now after the Supreme Court's dissenting opinion brought it to attention. People started claiming that Trump got the green light to jail and kill political rivals, and even nuke American cities. Yes, they're afraid the "you're fired" guy is going to become the "you're firebombed" guy. Talk about escalation. But hey, I heard someone say it on the internet. That source has never been wrong before. Biden's campaign is also capitalizing on this, warning that the Supreme Court immunity decision hands Trump the keys to a dictatorship, which is strange because that sounds like they're not so confident Biden is going to win the election. Biden claims that presidents will no longer be constrained by the law or the Supreme Court thanks to the ruling. But wouldn't that apply to Biden too? Like I said, some people believe he can now drone strike Mar-a-Lago, and some actually want this. I guess it's okay if one president becomes a dictator to stop another from becoming a dictator, as long as they're on your team. Aren't partisan politics fun? But does the president really have a blanket get-out-of-jail-free card to assassinate his rivals? Well, it's not so simple. Senior legal analyst at CNN points out that this ruling makes it clear that the president not only enjoys civil immunity but criminal immunity as well. However, criminal immunity is not blanket or absolute. The SEAL Team 6 hypothetical oversimplified and distorted the actual legal issue at hand. What? A complex issue was distorted and misunderstood on the internet, causing people to freak out? Wow, if only there were a show that sort of explained these things in non-partisan, humorous ways. If only. In an April oral argument, even Justice Samuel Alito said he didn't know how it would be plausibly legal to order SEAL Team 6 to do something so wild. But let's entertain the idea for just a moment. Chances are the courts wouldn't let assassinations against political rivals slide as an official act that's within the scope of the president's constitutional duties. We're not that far gone as a society yet. That obviously wasn't what the Founding Fathers intended. Because back in those days, when you hated a political rival, you just killed them in a duel like an adult. Plus, there's Congress. It has the power to impeach. So it's not like the president would be completely free from any consequences for his actions. That's not to say that there won't be someone who'd abuse presidential immunity. That is something worth watching out for. But it's something we should have already been watching out for, when we're not too busy apologizing to the ghost of Richard Nixon. So is the Supreme Court ruling a win for America, or does this set a bad precedent? Leave your comments below. And if you like America Uncovered's nonpartisan take on news and politics, be sure to subscribe and smash that like button with your handy-dandy gavel. and support the show on patreon.com/AmericaUncovered. You can contribute however much you want on a monthly basis, but you can also set it up for just $1 an episode. Just click that orange button. And if you're interested in gaming, I also have another video I'd like you to watch. This one, from my newest channel, Gamers Unbeaten, where I hide controversial topics and short videos on video games featuring politics, philosophy, and my patented sense of humor, actual patent pending. This one is about the lure of charismatic leaders in Dragon's Dogma 2. Those like Mao Zedong created powerful cults of personalities that killed millions. How did they do it? Find out by checking out the episode. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.